But even that kind of unity is seen as very, very dangerous. But the ownership of black media is really important. And black access to capital, building things, institutions in the community is very important. As I was speaking to Angela Stewart today, the lady I told you about from NASDAQ, one of the things that we talked about was raising capital and how companies go public on NASDAQ and they get, instantly millions of dollars in funding to do a lot of things. And I said, yeah, I said, we did a lot of stuff on our own. We didn't get any help. I said, it'd be kind of cool if we saw what we could do with like $100 million or a couple $100 million. I really think that we could do a lot of things. In fact, I know that we could. So, I mean, we did all this with nothing. So imagine what we could do with, like a significant capital. So at the end of the day, I think access to capital matters, but also the skill set matters so that you know what to do with the capital when you get it. Let's not pretend like black people don't have any access to anything. Every year when there's an NBA draft, there's dozens of new black millionaires being created. A lot of these professional athletes have contracts in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but because no one ever taught them to think like an institution, nobody taught them to think like a corporation, nobody taught them to think like a person that controls a capital base. They end up taking that money and doing stupid things with it. Like this guy, Sebastian Telfair, who's now doing a world tour explaining how he blew through $20 million. And a lot of athletes do this because it's what I wrote about that in my book. It's called economic immaturity. And economic immaturity is where you get your money and you spend it like a child because nobody ever taught you how to think like a grown man. Nobody ever taught you how to think like an adult, like an economic grown up. Economic grown ups make grown up moves. If you're watching the financial media now, and I hope you're watching this, you'll see right now Elon Musk and Jensen Wong and all of the billionaire.com guys are all over in the Middle East right now raising hundreds of billions of dollars in capital so they can be the ones to control the next generation of artificial intelligence. They're building massive data centers for hundreds of billions of dollars. They're planning to build millions of robots. They're planning to control entire industries. They're sitting together playing nice. Some of them don't like each other, but they're making deals and negotiating because they want to be positioned to control things. So the question then becomes, are we raising children who can think that way, who can say, hey, I don't know if I like this guy, but I'm going to sit down with him and we're going to make a plan. Right? What do you think? Am I being too pushy? Am I being bougie? Am I being uppity? Or are we on track here? Do you agree with that? Do you agree that perhaps when we raise children, we have to raise our children as institution builders, as empire builders, not as job seekers? Right? So because if you're in the NBA or NFL and somebody's giving you $50 million a year and you're thinking like an employee, then you're going to spend your money like an employee. You're thinking like a consumer. No, you should be thinking like somebody who's running a corporation that's making 50 million a year. You should realize that most businesses never make 50 million a year. So you literally are a walking corporation. If you're blowing your money like a sucker, then you're not just destroying your wealth. You're destroying your life is your right, but you're destroying a lot of people's lives because there are a lot of people that could be really, really whose lives could actually improve quite a lot if you had a little bit of vision and made some investments in a way that was mature and disciplined and intelligent. Jensen Wong, when he created NVIDIA, created probably a million jobs for people, at least a million.